Welcome to Flying Upstream, the podcast where we uncover the choices, practices, and wisdom that defy mainstream conventions. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Louisa. And together we're here to illuminate the alternative paths that have shaped human experiences through the ages. In each episode, we'll examine ways to move beyond societal norms. We're passionate about how timeless wisdom and unique lifestyle choices can foster healthier, sustainable, and enriching lives.
Join us as we navigate, challenge, and celebrate the beauty and insight of walking the road less traveled. If you've ever felt like you're flying north for the winter while everyone else is flying south, you've found your flock.
Free spirits, welcome back to another episode of Flying Upstream, where we delve into the unconventional paths that lead to extraordinary lives. Today, it's myself, Louisa. Our co-host, Kristen, is not with us today, but we have a remarkable guest who has truly embraced the art of living outside of the lines. Elle Sompres joins us, a seasoned coach, speaker, and nomad who spent 3 transformative years exploring the country in an RV. Elle's journey isn't just about adventure. It's a testament to the power of daring to live by your own rules. From challenging societal norms to helping others design their lives the way that they love, Elle's experiences are a treasure trove of wisdom for anyone seeking to break free from unconventional expectations. Throughout our conversation today, we'll explore Elle's nomadic beginnings, the lessons she's learned from life on the road, and how she's channeling her passion into empowering others to follow their dreams. Whether you've dreamt of nomadic lifestyle or simply crave more authenticity in your own journey, this episode promises to inspire and ignite your spirit. Join us as we uncover the joys, challenges, and the invaluable insight gained from thriving unconventionally. Elle, welcome to the Flying Upstream podcast. We're thrilled to have you here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled to be here. And I have to start by saying your intro brought tears to my eyes.
Oh,
All of that based off of like our last conversation. It wasn't, sometimes you like write your introduction for people, but I didn't. So it all took me by surprise. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's saying it so perfectly.
I love when I can capture the essence. That's part of the joy of this. So let's jump right in because your story is actually quite interesting. I think I love this. You had some unconventional beginnings. You've lived a nomadic life for 3 years. You explored the country in an RV. What inspired you to embark on this unconventional journey, and how did you prepare for that?
Yeah. I have always been a free spirit. I should have worn my free spirit sweatshirt. I didn't even think
That
about
would have been perfect.
Wait, I'll go grab it. No, but I'll start by saying my sister Lisa, who passed away of cancer back in 2017. But one thing she said to me that always stuck, she said, what I admire about you, my little sister, because I was her little sister, she said, is when you want something, you go for it and you make it happen. And she goes, there's so many people that talk about things and want to do things, but they never really put it into fruition. And I was taken back. This was before I had even become nomadic. It was just other things I had done in my life because I broke societal norms by leaving a very steady job in radio advertising where I was making great money, well known in the community, to go off and learn how to become a speaker and a trainer and a coach. And back then, 2003, 2004, people were like, you're going to sell motivational tapes? What are you doing? Like, it didn't make sense to people. And they knew how successful I was. And they're like, you're starting over and doing what? And then once I was self-employed, I owned a house in Ohio. I was, again, very dialed into the community and just was like, I've always wanted to move to California. I moved to California and people were like, what? Did you meet someone? No. Do you have family there? No. Did you get a job there? No, I'm self-employed. And boom, just sold my house and boom, up and moved to California. And people were like, you're either nuts or I was like, oh, I can come back. Because some people thought it was great. And some people thought, oh, California, the land of flakes, and you're gonna, but I loved it. I've been here 17 years yesterday. So I just celebrated.
Amazing. Congrats. I hear it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is. And it suits me. But what I want to say to all of that, though, because it goes with the nomadic journey as well. Like you said, that may not be your aspiration, right? Moving to California might not be your aspiration. Getting into a new business might not be your aspiration, but whatever it is for you is what I like to encourage in others. Find out what is speaking to your soul and figure out a way to make it happen, because that's what makes life so enriching and so powerful. So we get to the nomadic journey. I had decided I was going to leave LA. I wanted to move to San Diego, but then my sister's cancer got worse and I met a guy. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to leave just yet, because we were taking my sister to Hawaii and doing some great things as a family, which in there I had actually planned I was going to go live in Australia for 6 months in Bali. I love to explore. I had it planned out. I had it planned out, but I didn't want to leave the country when my sister's cancer had metastasized and so on and so forth. And that was the right decision. When I met my ex, now ex, he had always wanted to live in San Diego too. So then we, about a year later, decided, okay, we can at least move to San Diego. I won't go off to Australia, because I was planning Australia, then move to San Diego. So we just moved to San Diego. You have to be adaptable sometimes in this dream-seeking life.
Hey there, free spirits. Here on Flying Upstream podcast, we're all about forging your own path. But sometimes even the most unconventional journey can make you feel stuck. There's a missing piece, a deeper purpose you haven't quite grasped.
That's right, Louisa. Many of us crave that feeling of being aligned, living a life that truly resonates with our souls. But what if I told you there's a way to break free from the limitations holding you back?
That's right, Kristen. And I help seekers experience profound spiritual breakthroughs.
Spiritual breakthroughs? That sounds interesting, Louisa. Tell us more.
Absolutely. Through my exclusive program, I'll guide you on a journey of self-discovery using the powerful practice of soul reading. Imagine uncovering the root cause of your energy blockages, releasing self-doubt that's held you back, and awakening the wisdom that lies within.
Whoa, a soul reading that reveals the root cause of your blocks? That's a pretty unconventional approach.
You could say that. In just 7 weeks, you'll gain a personalized roadmap to living a life aligned with your deepest desires, the life you were truly meant to live on your unconventional path.
That sounds like exactly what some of our listeners might need to break free and embrace their authentic selves.
Absolutely. So, if you are ready to step into your power and claim the life you deserve, don't wait. For a limited time, I am offering a free awakening session. Text the word AWAKEN to 617-299-9321 to claim a free soul awakening session with me.
So ditch the script and write your own story of fulfillment. Text AWAKEN to 617-299-9321 and start your adventure today.
It doesn't always map out exactly as you intend it, but that's okay. That's part of the adventure. He left his corporate job. I already had job flexibility, right? My business was starting to blow up, and he said, what if I joined you and help support you? Like, it's going so well. So then as that happened, I was like, well, what if we go on the road? And he's what? I said, think about it. I'm like, we could go live in various cities and explore the country and go to national parks along the way. And just, oh my gosh, how great would this be? We could just explore. And how are we doing this? I'm like, I don't know, let's get an RV or something. So these are how my dreams start. I had never stepped in an RV, not once at this point in my life. We had grown up boating, but I had never been in an RV. And I had no idea really what the lifestyle was about. I just liked the concept. So totally at that point was in the dream state. There was no real weighty goals involved and steps. It was just this, wouldn't that be fun? And he was like, I don't know, because he had a different connotation. If some people live in RVs for a different reason, and that's okay too. But we lived in a really nice place in San Diego. And he was like, I don't really want to. Oh, he's like, RV? And he just had this other idea in his head. And I was like, no, I thought, I think there's some really nice ones out there. Let's just go look around.
Yeah.
So we went, stepped in. And it started with travel trailers because neither one of us knew anything about the lifestyle. And then we realized the ceilings were a little lower than we wanted because we're both tall. And we started exploring, but we didn't want the motorhome because then you have two engines because you have what's called a towed. If you want to be able to explore, you're going to bring a car with you. You're not going to drive the RV everywhere. And they call that a towed. So a car you tow behind you. But now that's two engines and a lot more maintenance and things of that nature. And plus, he was going to be driving and thought, I don't know about the bus. We landed on a fifth wheel, which was the perfect fit for us. And the fifth wheels have higher ceilings. And we had a ceiling fan, and a fireplace, and a king size bed, and a full kitchen. When
I
people
did not know these were so fancy. Oh, wow.
and we didn't even buy one of the top end. Don't get me wrong. Ours was not one of there's $1 million RVs out there, but they come in all shapes and sizes, just like us humans. And we found the one that worked for us and got really excited about it, but still knew nothing about it. We had to start learning about towing capacity of trucks. And he had a truck in the past and towed a boat, but that's not the same as towing. I think ours was 3,500, pounds, but some of them are a lot more. I don't know. He knew all this stuff. I didn't pay attention to the weight stuff. And then we had to learn all about just the whole experience. But there was a big learning curve about this lifestyle. But that was how we got into it. It was just a toss-up dream. We started looking around and fell in love with the idea of it.
I love that. And that's how dreams begin, right? Because when they come from the right place, from your heart, from your soul, they don't come with instructions, right? That's part of the journey, is how we get there. A lot of us can think we have these dreams but they're too big. Once we start to even consider breaking them down and taking steps, it's, oh, they're too big and we just can't do it. To get right into where you were going, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced during your nomadic lifestyle? Thankfully, you had a partner in crime with you, which was awesome, it sounds like. But what challenges did y'all face? How did these experiences shape your perspective on risk taken and resilience?
Yeah, great questions. I will say this to your first point, and you've probably heard this saying too, but that whole, if you see the plan laid out in front of you, it's usually someone else's plan. And I love that concept because if it's all laid out step by step, it's not really coming from your soul. So you figure it out for it to really be about you. And so that was a lot of what it was. So we figured out, it was a lot of finding what type of RV, what floor plan we wanted, what features we wanted. Storage was a big thing for us because we knew we were going to go live full time around the country rather than just a recreation vehicle, which is different, right? So we had to look into what truck and do all those things. But then we were like, okay, let's take her out on her virgin voyage and check this thing out. So we knew we were heading off out into the country, but we stayed close to San Diego at first and just went to some more local, just to, how do we park it? How do we hook it up? How do we get it? Is everything working? And our first setback, I'll be honest, was when we picked it up and they do what's called a walkthrough, like you do with the house. We go to do the walkthrough. The RV industry is a little wacky cracky. I'm just going to say that. It was damaged. It was brand new. And when they open what's called the slides, so we had 3 slides, they call them like the pop outs that make the space bigger than what goes down the road. They open up the slide and our kitchen, apparently like the handle had caught on the sliders and it had pulled out, and it pulled the entire cabinetry of the kitchen, was completely shattered and on the ground. So they're just as surprised as we are because they hadn't walked in the way they should have to make sure everything was okay. So that was a whole thing. And we did already have plans to set off across the country. We're going to Bryce and Zion, and we were going up to South Dakota and then to Denver. So we had all this stuff planned, and we're like, TikTok, we've only got so much time. We're not going to be here. So they had to shuffle. And one of the biggest obstacles in the RV life is maintenance. And oh boy, it's a lot of promises when you're buying. Oh, we'll take care of you, and you want to buy in your home state. But even when you go back to your dealer to get things fixed, it can take months to get in. And at least then, and I think it's probably worse now, but I don't know. So that was challenging. So how to plan that, how to work that out. We had to really learn a lot about advocacy, because how to stand up for myself without being belligerent and nasty, but being able to be firm enough to say, this needs to happen. You guys got to help with this. This is nothing we did. And it's going to have to be expedited. They had to ship us things because they couldn't get the pieces in. And then they had to set us up at another RV place and pay for it. It was a little bit crazy, but we made it work. Not going to stop the dream. So here we go. And just the things like learning how to dump, it's gross. You have your black tank and your sewage has to go somewhere. But our first experience, the guy in front of us spilled, which is not good.
Oh.
And most people are pretty good at it, and that doesn't happen very frequently. So I thought it was pretty funny that it wasn't maybe our first time out, but it was like I think it was like our second or third, but still very early on. And we're watching him because you line up behind and they hook up to the dump and then you pull this lever and it brings it all. And then you got to rinse it out with a hose that squirts water. I'm not going to bore you too much with the detail, but it's a process.
Yeah.
And people wear gloves and normally you don't touch anything, but you just are very careful. But then he just drives away and we're like, I don't think that's how you're supposed to handle that.
Oh.
So we had to get the ranger and tell him we didn't pull up yet because we're like, it wasn't us. Gotta let us know because they have this formulation they put on it to clean it. Anyway, so that was weird. And we're both like, ew, that's gonna be gross. We never had a spill. We never had a problem. Things were always clean. But we did have to replace our black tank at one point because if you get any issue, like any crack, any problem with the seal, and get a smell, and we're not gonna live like that. So there's lots of things. And then just the tires that can blow. We had a blown out tire and driving down the freeway with all that weight. And we had gotten what was called a TPMS, just test the pressure of the tires as you're traveling. So it lets you know if a tire's going low or it lets you know if a tire's blown. Thank God, because we probably would have flipped because this tire blew and completely then it rode up, and because you can't feel it, it's all the way back. You're in a big truck, let alone these tires are all the way in the back, and it ripped up like through the RV. And if we had kept going, it would have eventually ripped it and we would have flipped because it was bad. But the TPMS started going off, beep, so we immediately pulled over. And what had already happened, we were like, whoa, it was bad. We're sitting in the middle of nowhere. We were in Bunkie, Louisiana, on our way to Florida for the winter. And so I'm like, I had to film it because we had already been on the road for a bit at this time and sharing these fabulous pictures and our great adventures and how wonderful. And here's the other side of the RV life. It's not always glamorous. We had to drive as slow as possible to get ourselves a gas station that allowed truckers to stop. So it wasn't even really fully a rest stop. It was in the middle of nowhere. Didn't feel real safe. It felt a little, and they couldn't come that night. We had to wait until the next day till a tow truck could come to take us to a place that could fix our tire. And I'm talking, I had even read that, of course, I'm looking up like where we are, and they're like, there was a shooting at this gas station. Like, oh my God. I was like, don't read that stuff. Don't read that. We just kept inside and stayed safe. And it was all fine. But then I'm like, the next day, as we're getting everything ready and the flatbed truck is coming, I'm like shooting footage to everybody. And I'm singing, busted flat and bunky, waiting for a tow. And I was like, I make the best out of situations.
I love that because you started with sharing about how you've always just been a risk taker, like just lived your life on your own terms and followed your dreams and desires. And I love this story so much because it speaks to exactly that. A lot of people, after seeing the broken kitchen cabinets, would have probably been like, this is just not meant to be, because it's a scary journey to think that you're about to embark on. And then something that can feel so drastic at the time, I think a lot of people would have been like, no, thanks, I'm done. I'm not actually going to do it. I can say I tried it and it's not going to work out. You're like, okay, that's just an issue. Let's go. And it sounds like that's just the way you handled every issue thereafter, because there was another moment, right, where you could have been like, all right, we're having so many issues. We're in the middle of nowhere. This could be really unsafe. This could turn pretty bad pretty quickly. You're reading these articles about negative things that just happened and you're singing a song. You know what I mean? I just
Music's my
love that. I love it. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. One of the things that happens a lot to a lot of us when we are thinking about embarking on these amazing dreams that we have that seem so unconventional and out of the norms, we usually have family and friends that are like, what are you doing? When this came up for you, did you encounter any resistance? And how did you handle those conversations specifically about such a big undertaking? Because there's a lot of risk involved with living in an RV in itself and living the RV life. So, how did you handle those conversations with the people in your life that expressed concerns?
What's funny is people that have known me a long time are used to me, so they don't give me a hard time.
I love that.
Thankfully, my mother is always up there. She goes again. Okay, cool. And she supports me, which I give her so much credit for that because I think that's given me a lot of courage through my life. She's always told me you can do whatever you put your mind to. And so dang it, that's what I do. Some other people, and especially clients, because I'm on a speaking tour around the country, is what we were doing, right? So I'm going into different corporations and network meetings and conferences and speaking and then holding live workshops. So even some clients, and keep in mind, a lot of my clients were real estate agents. So they're like, wait, what? Why are you living like this? You could have this great. And I'm like, I could have a great home, yes, but I'm having a great adventure.
Yeah.
And we started our Facebook group and an Instagram road trip to freedom. And it was all about a road trip of experiencing just absolute location freedom and adventures and financial freedom and just living outside the box. Either people would say, oh my gosh, you're living my dream. I can't wait to do that. And we did inspire a few people that actually got on the road and are living that way. And other people who were like, there's no way I would do that ever. That sounds horrible to me, but I love living through you vicariously. I think your adventures are great. And then other people who you could tell just completely don't approve. And that's okay. But you can, and I could read them and I would just smile and be like, yeah, look, I know it's not for everybody, but I can handle the smaller living quarters and a little bit of the headaches because you are a traveling like earthquake going down the road.
Yeah.
Things are going to break and things will come loose and you've got to check. You live very differently. When you move, you got to bring everything in off the desk and the shelves and everything has to be secured on the inside. It's very different, but it was worth it for me and for him. And we both said we were going to try it for a year and then we'll just see what we think. And if we decide we don't like it, we can keep it and just travel, do recreation camping because we both love the outdoors. And then it was like, nope, keep going, and we just loved it. And it was a little over 3 years and would have kept going, but the pandemic struck and I got very sick, unfortunately. But that was the main reason we stopped. And then we parted ways, but or I would still be living it. I loved the lifestyle so much. Loved it, loved it, loved it.
You shared wherever you go, you bring your whole life with you. To me, it was like the perfect analogy of ourselves, which I think we try to see differently. But it's so true that wherever we go, we can't escape everything that's inside us. It comes with us. So you talked about like, making sure everything is secure and all of that. We have to do that within ourselves. And there's maintenance work that we have to do within ourselves every
And things
single day.
and things don't always go as planned. Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
Yes, and everything doesn't go as planned and everybody doesn't agree with our choices and with how we feel and I think that maybe if we can embrace life that way, not that everybody needs to go live in an RV like you said, that's not for everybody, but if we can take a look at that adventure in itself from that perspective, it's like carrying your own stuff with you. How much stuff can you carry? How much stuff can you take care of? How much work are you willing to put into it, right? And then is it worth it? And it was for you because you
Yeah.
were willing to put in the amount of work that was necessary to have the financial, the time, freedom, and the experience, the joy of living out your dream, which to me is invaluable.
All right, free spirits, that's all the time we have for today on Flying Upstream.
We hope this episode sparked your curiosity and ignited a desire to explore the extraordinary paths less traveled.
Even when the current feels strong, a whole world of possibilities awaits.
We'll see you next time on the other side of mainstream.
So keep questioning, keep challenging, and most importantly, keep flying upstream.